the previous video, we have discussed about the definition, etiology of the meningitis. So, in this video, we will discuss the pathophysiology, diagnosis, and treatment of this meningitis. So, before we start the video, if you like my video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you find this useful, then share with your friends. So, let's get started. So, pathophysiology. So, this is the chart I have displayed here. Please go through it. And in the next slide, I will explain in detail about pathophysiology. So, pathophysiology here, the infectious agents is causing infection to the brain. This how it is caused, we will learn now. So, first is the action of infectious agents on the brain tissue is one of the direct cause of the damage. And other types of damage may include the mechanical effect of swelling and compression of the brain tissue against the bony surface of the skull. So what happens is the whenever the brain get injury or the brain gets a swelling, then the brain starts to enlarge. But the brain is within the skull, so the skull don't enlarge. So what happens is the brain will compress itself into against the bony surface. That time the infection may happen because it will damage the brain cells because it is compressing it against the bony surface. So third is the swelling of meninges may interfere with normal absorption of CSF by blood vessels. As I told you before, so the in the brain the CSF is being produced continuously and simultaneously little CSF is also absorbed by the blood vessels. This process is very much simultaneous. If the infection caused, then what happens? The swelling of meninges may interfere with normal absorption of the CSF by blood vessels. So the CSF will not be absorbed by the blood vessel, then there is excess of accumulation of the CSF and damage from the pressure on the brain. And also the brain is regulating some chemical environment in the um, inner region. So what happens is the carbon dioxide and potassium will be accumulated in the high amount that will also cause the infection to the brain, and the blood brain barrier become less effective. So blood brain barrier acts as the very much protective membrane for the brain. But here what happens, once the infection is caused, then blood brain barrier will become less effective and it will easily pass through all the toxic chemicals or the all toxic enzymes through the brain, and it will cause the infection. What are the symptoms of this meningitis? So, fever, headache, vomiting, sensitivity to light, and that is photophobia, irritability, and severe fatigue, stiff neck. Stiff neck is because of the excess secretion of the CSF and reddish purple rash on the skin. So, these are the symptoms of meningitis. Diagnosis. So, how to diagnose this disease? So many techniques are there, but here we will discuss only one technique, that is lumbar puncture. So in lumbar puncture, there is insertion of thin needle into a space that is between vertebrae in the lower back, from where a small amount of that CSF is withdrawn. And then that CSF is examined for the presence of bacteria or the fungi. And we all know CSF contains the fixed amount of the glucose and protein. So these percentage, if they vary with the bacterial or viral or fungi, then it may be causing the meningitis. Then for example, so bacterial meningitis lowers the percentage of glucose in the CSF. So whatever glucose is present in the CSF, that is consumed by the bacteria for its own nutrition. Normal CSF does not contain the WBC cells. If there is a presence of WBCs in the CSF, then the patient is of course suffering from the meningitis. So next we will see the treatment for this. So antibiotics like penicillin, cephalosporins are useful against the bacterial agents of meningitis. So since many antibiotics cannot pass through this blood-brain barrier, So the doctors will give the patients intravenous antibiotics. So through the veins, like injections at high doses. And also antiviral drugs like cyclovir may also be helpful in shortening the course of viral meningitis. Antifungal medications is also available. And other treatments are to decrease the inflammation with the steroid preparations and also maintaining the balance of the fluids, glucose, sodium, potassium, oxygen, and carbon dioxide. So these are the various treatment that is given to the meningitis patient. So hope you like the video guys, and also I'm giving the useful information for examination purpose. I am not covering whole chapter, or also I am giving in a point wise notes. So you can also write it down in like in the, you also can write it in the type of notes, or you can screenshot this and you can read it in the mobile itself. So it's your choice. So in the next video, I'm coming up with a new disease and the new etiology, symptoms, etc. etc. If you like the video, please like my video, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.